You know, I work with a lot of people who are going through a breakup or a separation. One thing that I found, which is that there seems to be a panic response, with scrabbling around trying to find a quick way to fix it, trying to find what action to take, what steps to take to reattract their partner back. It's easy to fall into this mindset that we have to stop this from happening as soon as possible, which leads us to a really scattered place. But things don't have to be messy. They don't have to be scattered. In fact, if you approach this situation with a lot of precision, then you can use this to your advantage. So in this video, I'm going to break down why panicking right now is going to cause a lot more damage, why treating your breakup like a scientist is crucial, and the steps to take in order to do that. It's totally natural and understandable to look at a breakup, a separation, a difficult time in the relationship as something that you want to stop. At the end of the day, you want to repair the relationship with your partner, right? But when you jump into a panic state, you can end up making a lot of bad decisions in quick succession, and this can cause a lot more damage to the relationship. When you panic, you start to make a lot of these very poor decisions. You start to clutch at straws. You start to try to read the tea leaves as to what your partner is thinking. You start to lose your focus very, very quickly, leaving you worse off than if you'd just done nothing at all. But you can approach the breakup in a different way, a much more deliberate way. And as a result of that, start to turn this into something that is actually going to work for you long term, that's actually going to benefit you long term. And this is why when I work with all of my members, I recommend approaching this situation like a scientist. And just before I move forward, if you do want more videos like this on repairing and growing healthy relationships, then feel free to subscribe to my channel for new videos every single week. You know, if you think about when a scientist runs an experiment, there are a lot of different results that could happen, some positive, some negative, but all of them are data points. Each result is a piece of data that can ultimately lead to a much more definitive answer. So treating a breakup, separation, a divorce like a scientist can be really powerful, not only for improving yourself, but even repairing the relationship. And the first step to do this is to reframe your pain points as data. So just like a scientist sees failed experiments as data, consider each moment of conflict, of misunderstanding or regret in the previous relationship or in the current moment as a valuable piece of feedback. So instead of seeing a breakup as a personal flaw or proof that you're not good enough, treat it as a collection of data points. Every single painful moment within the relationship holds a lot of clues as to what worked, what didn't work, and ultimately what you need to do to improve your process moving forward. These discords, these moments of conflict, when you look back at the relationship, they can often seem like signs that the relationship was destined to end. But a true scientist would look at these failures, at these moments where pain happened, as data points to change and improve the process moving forward. And this can be for yourself and for the relationship. Next, it's really important to identify patterns and hypotheses. So scientists test hypotheses repeatedly. They try to isolate variables within their process. So in relationships, this means reflecting on recurring issues. Isolating variables and testing these small adjustments will help you to figure out where your blind spots are and where you can improve moving forward, not only in the relationship, but also within yourself. So for example, if you always struggle with communication, whether it's the listening part, whether it's the speaking part, maybe it's your tone, looking back at patterns and isolating the variable, whether it's your listening, whether it's your speaking, whether it's your emotional regulation, isolating each one and figuring out which one it is that causes the most damage, or what it is that you need to improve on. The next step in approaching your breakup like a scientist is to detach from personal blame. So scientists, they don't internalize failure as a statement about how much they're worth, right? They know that failure is part of the learning. No successful scientist will look at failure as a problem. They will look at failure as part of the process in building a better hypothesis next time. And so in the context of a breakup, reframing to yourself that relationship challenges don't define your value. They don't define your success or your failure. They are points of improvement. And adopting this detachment can help you look at the relationship from a much clearer, much more compassionate angle. And this reduces your shame, your guilt, allowing you to grow a lot more quickly. Next, it's important to use your failures to pivot your approach. So when approaching a situation in a certain way doesn't work, rather than looking at it as a sign that the relationship is doomed, scientists tweak the experiment. So if your approach to communication was very defensive, perhaps a new experiment could be actively listening more in future conversations. Or if you struggle to prioritize the relationship due to your personal goals, consider experimenting with new ways to balance your ambitions with time for a partner. The way to overcome each of these discords is really crucial. And this will help you start to repair your relationship. Each pivot gets you closer to understanding yourself and what will create a healthier relationship dynamic within your breakup, whether it's with an ex or with a new relationship. Next, it's important to view your breakup recovery as an ongoing experiment. So just as scientists know that they won't get it right every single time, expect your setbacks in your personal growth as well. So it's okay if some days that you feel great and other days you feel a little bit down in the dumps. That emotional flux is normal, like the varied results of scientific trials, right? Embrace each day's data as useful information that will, over time, help you better understand and meet your needs. Then it's important to shift towards curiosity, not judgment. So scientists approach every single experiment with curiosity rather than judgment. So in the case of a breakup, approaching your healing process and attempts at self-improvement with a similar attitude. So instead of feeling judgmental, if something doesn't work out, like a conversation with your ex or a new emotional strategy, see it as part of the learning curve. By embracing failure as a tool for discovery, you give yourself permission to try, to fail, and to improve and iterate. And this turns every single personal and relationship challenge into a stepping stone towards much bigger personal and relationship growth. And over time, this approach is going to help you to build resilience, self-awareness, and a deeper understanding of what will make future relationships, again, whether it's repairing with your ex or a different relationship, much more fulfilling and balanced. And this is a skill. This is what I work on with all of my Ultra Normal members. Building this process scientifically and being very deliberate and specific is really crucial. And this is a step-by-step process over time. And if you do want to join us, then join me on my free Relationship Bootcamp, where you'll learn the same steps and tools that all of my members use for turning their relationships around. Just click on the link in the description to grab your spot. And this applies to everything within your relationship: communication, overthinking, emotional regulation. All of these have a massive impact. And the more deliberate and scientific you are, the larger and quicker your growth will be. And as an example, approaching overthinking traps as a science experiment. And I've actually spoken about this before. I'll link to the video on the screen, but looking at things like overthinking traps in a very scientific, specific way. Figuring out which one you're falling for and how to start reframing it in the moment in order to start reprogramming your brain. And this needs to be very scientific and deliberate and specific in order to make it most effective. So I'm going to leave you with that deep dive video into overthinking traps, and I'll see you over there.